Well, despite boasting a wealth of riches when it comes to natural ability and talent, Africa does not have Fifa World Cup winners on its books. Many have blamed it on poor administration and corruption. So then, the World Football Summit to Africa is being hosted at the ICC in Durban. It's kicked off and sees some of the greatest minds on the continent gathering under one roof to seek solutions to the dilemma. Let's bring in our reporter, Khotso Sello. Khotso, let's talk about these solutions. What's been put forward?
Well, as much as, sport has become a completely different beast in terms of bringing profit margins to a lot of stakeholders, it is also there for the young generations to enjoy. And of course, it's also built for social cohesion. And somebody who champions the spirit of social cohesion in sport is Alex Khosana, former ASA president. And of course, he was part of that SASCOC board. And Nailana, Babs Khosana, we at the World Football Summit Africa. For those who know you, they know you as a track and field individual, but today you've traded that hat in for the development and enhancement of football.
No, thank you very much. Indeed, sport is the same irrespective of the name of the court, whether it's football or athletics or tennis or table tennis. The basics and the fundamentals are almost the same. That's why I'm here today, because I'm wearing that hat of being the provincial manager of the Academy of Sport for a number of years. I think this is the 20th anniversary of my involvement, where we deal with issues not only in athletics. We deal with football, netball, cricket, tennis, table tennis, all sorts of different sports, working with them as academy to assist them to be able to develop their coaches and develop the players so that they can be the better players in the world, not only in KwaZulu-Natal.
The best African minds have descended onto KZN to exchange ideas and perhaps, share ideas to where to take football on the continent. What do you think should be the message coming out of such a conference?
Well, the biggest that I've heard in the sessions that I've attended is that we should not only be interested in the physical part of football per se, but we must also look seriously in the scientific part of it and look at the business part of it, because it's a game that is watched by almost 5 billion people, and it creates a lot of opportunities. And it's for South Africans and Africans to be able to be the consumers as well as the designers of programs that will be able to make young men and women, players and coaches and clubs to compete on an equal footing with the European, the American, the Asian, as well as the African. And I heard a cry here, which was very loud, that if you look at Belgium in particular, they have got black players and they come from Africa. If those players had remained in Africa, Africa would be in a better place and even win a World Cup or even the World Club Championships and all that. So we are in agreement with that our talent should stop from crossing the Atlantic Ocean all the time. Whenever there is something promising, something great, you lose that. And it is upon our governments, upon our sponsors, corporates, and our associations that they must be able to do something urgently, improve the quality of the sporting infrastructure, the education of coaches, the education of managers or the business owners of these clubs, so that they can be able to package football and sport in such a way that there is no need for a boy or for a girl to leave this continent, to leave this country, to look for greener pastures. The greener pastures must be within this country, within this province, within this continent. That was the message.
How important is it for Africa to tailor-make their own way of doing things and running things in terms of sport on the continent and not having to rely on European foreign exchange?
Well, it's very important. And I think that is the biggest message again, that listen and look at what the Europeans are doing. Their conditions are totally different from our conditions. And I listened to Jomosono talking about the talent, scouting, development and all that, comparing the differences. But in terms of what is done in South Africa and what is done in Europe, it is the same thing. Therefore, it is upon us to be able to build something that is going to cause the entire world to come and learn from Africa. Not that we are not doing anything, we are doing everything. That's why European clubs are buying players from all over West Africa, Southern Africa, East Africa and all that. But we need to package it and learn to patent it and protect it to such a point that whosoever has touched base with the player, whether it's for 3 months or for 5 months, that player, when he leaves, the person, the club, the coach must be able to benefit in the value chain rather than just simple keep on producing thousands of players and they are going across the Atlantic Ocean and we remain poor and we remain with no talent. I think that is very important.
Perhaps, Khosana, just looking around here, there's many great minds here to share knowledge and exchange ideas. Do you feel that, after today, there will be some sort of, this is how we move forward from a summit of this magnitude and not just be something that's ticked off the box?
Well, in as much as there are many great minds here, but the decision makers are not here. I'm surprised that I don't see the decision makers of this country who are supposed to be listening and take notes and go back to the drawing board and say, this is what we are going to do from tomorrow onwards in order for South Africa, in order for Africa to be better. And I assume that most of the people have already left the continent to Qatar for the World Cup and all that. But be that as it may be, I can see managers, I can see coaches, they are listening, they are taking notes, and I hope that they will be able to do what they are supposed to do, because they are the first point of interaction with the player, and they must be able to tighten those screws so that the players do not, and for the longest of time in the future, they remain here so that Africa can be great again, because we do have talent, there is no doubt about that.
And rubbing shoulders with some of our African brothers and sisters, is there a willingness to actually make a difference?
Well, I've spoken to few from different countries. There is willingness, there is eagerness, there is hunger in terms of getting the best minds, the best solutions, the strategies, so that they can be able to change things way back home. Whether that will be able to happen or not, we don't know. But time says we must be able to change. And our children are saying they are tired of going across, and we must be able to remain at home and develop at home. And whilst they are studying and playing football and other codes of sport, we should be able to support them with all what is required for them, so that they remain at home and they also become patriots of this beautiful continent and the country, as well as the clubs and the associations and the leagues that they are playing in. That is the only way that can make us to be the powerhouse. If you look at the Brazilian players, no matter where they go in Europe, they don't lose themselves. They become so proud. When they are called, they make sure that they answer without any issues. And I wish we can be able to have that in South Africa for all the sports, that you can play anywhere. But when you are called at home, you simple answer. Even when you sign a contract with a European club, you say that one of the things that I'm not going to compromise is when my country calls, and I will not say I am not going to come. I will come no matter what, whether we are in the middle of the league, whether we will be going for the finals, but I will go and represent my country, because it is my country and there is nothing better than my country.
One of your quotes, one of my favorite quotes from you when you were still ASA president was, athletes must run, administrators must administrate. Does this apply to football as well?
I still say that, I'll die saying that. Then the responsibility of the leaders in sport is for them to lead, and lead decisively, and take popular and unpopular decisions. And the responsibility of coaches is to coach and do coach, and not only for the sake of coaching, spending hours. They must be able to coach and coach players that are going to fit in any level in the world. And the players, they must just listen to their generals, to their instructors, who are the coaches, so that they can be able to get to the highest level and become the Olympic champions, become the world champions and everything. If we can keep to that policy, things will roll and things will produce results. But if you allow players to be the politicians and the politicians not to do what they are supposed to do in the sport, then you will have a chaotic situation. Let players play, let coaches coach, let administrators lead and lead decisively.
Thank you, Babs Kosana. Well, there you have it from Ubab Alex Kosana saying everybody needs to play their role in order to advance football in the country and on the continent.
Khotso Sello, live for us at the ICC in Durban. Thank you very much for that.